Hey everyone, it's Boardgame Brody here with Meeple Mountain, and I have with me Phantom Crown Detective by Time to Play Games. This is a 4 to 10 player deduction party game that can be played in 10 to 20 minutes. In the game, each player will have a role and have an action card. Each role belongs to a faction, either the Phantom faction, the Detective faction, or the Police faction. You can always find what faction you belong to by checking the top right of your role card. If at any time a player has 2 role cards, then the one with the highest value on the top right will be the active role. Gameplay can change role cards, also changing your faction, which changes your team and your objective. Different roles will be used depending on the number of players in the game. Use the graph in the rulebook to determine those roles and the number of action cards used. Everyone will always start with 1 role card and 1 action card, and the remaining cards are shuffled together to make a draw pile. In the game, there are then 3 rounds of deciphering who people are, but at the same time, they could also be changing who they are, and you will also be doing the same. After 3 rounds, the start player will call out roles, and they will respond to the ending event. The roles will be called out until someone wins by accusing the correct person that their ending event corresponds with. Let me explain this a little more specifically. On your turn, you'll be drawing a card from the draw pile and then performing either an investigate action or playing a card and doing the action on the card. You can investigate one other person or you can investigate the lobby. When investigating a player, that player chooses a card from their hand and passes it to you. You will look at it and you can either return the card, gaining some knowledge, or exchange it with a card from your hand. When investigating the lobby consists of the cards that are laid out that are not the draw pile. You choose a card to look at, and in secret you can either return it or exchange it, just like investigating a person. In either case, the current player will need to announce whether they exchanged the card for everyone to hear and to know. The second option that you can take instead of investigating is to play a card. You might be placing this card out in front of you, or in front of someone else in which the card will be having a lasting effect on. Play continues and all players will have 1 turn in the round. Each player will do this 3 times. The last round, players won't have any cards to draw and will need to gain the last bit of information in hopes for the win or to position themselves better for the ending phase. Once the ending phase begins, everyone will be on a faction that is shown on their highest numbered role card. And in a predetermined order, the start player will call out each role. YouTuber, choose a faction. Chief Inspector, choose one other player to protect. Dr. Watson, accuse who you think is the Phantom. Magician, accuse Parrot Holmes. Parrot Holmes, accuse the Phantom. Phantom, accuse the Crown Holder. At this point, if no one has won, then the Police faction will win. When a player wins, by whatever means, all players of the same faction win as well. The game is a nice quick deduction game that can be played with a large group of people. The game, though, is very hard to learn at first, but after figuring it out, it is a very fun game. Everyone is trying to get information the entire time, and trying to remember it, but then players will start changing their roles and using their action cards to gain more information or causing changes to confuse everyone else. The game has some great aspects, and I love this in the games. It is quick, the roles in the games changes, and the players choose which role when they're presented with 2 cards that they want to be. Really, no one knows if they will win, and because of this, lots of things can change. Also, I love the fact that you can gain information not needed for your current role, but when presented with a change, you can change into a different role and have better information. Or, at times, the opposite can happen when you know lots of information for your current role, but something occurs and you have to change roles to some other role that you don't have any good information for. Although the game has some great aspects when it comes down to picking this or similar games, lots of times other games win because they are so much easier to teach and understand. But if you're willing to take a little bit more time to understand how to play a new deduction game, then check out Phantom Crown Detective by Time to Play Games. Again, this is Boardgame Brody. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around and check out some other board game reviews to see what you might want to get to the table.